It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. So in this update today, we're covering how you might want to keep an umbrella nearby for the next few days. There will be a potential for some showers as we head into parts of Thursday and Friday and Saturday. And then we'll see a change up as a cold blast arrives into the weekend. So there's a look at the first alert radar during the 8 o'clock hour Thursday morning. And we do find some showers on the map. Most of these during the 8 o'clock hour are closer to Pearl River, Stone, and George counties, and they are actually moving up and out of the area. So we might be about to catch a little break as we go into the rest of Thursday morning. But some more showers could develop as we head to later today, so you do want to be aware that we could still see some rain chances into parts of Thursday. But I mean, the temperatures, talk about that, huh? Some places going up into the upper 60s and lower 70s, so quite mild to say it is January. Don't get used to that. There is some change on the way. It's coming with a cold blast that arrives on Sunday. And wouldn't you know it, Sunday is actually going to be our day with the highest chance for rain in South Mississippi. Note that I'm still saying rain in South Mississippi, none of that other stuff that other places will see. But let's break down our potential for wet weather and show you, put things into perspective to help you understand which day carries our best potential for wet weather. So here we are on Thursday. We are tapping into some moisture coming in from the Gulf. And for the most part, most of this is staying offshore, the deeper moisture. So we really only see this kind of green color here on Thursday, indicating generally light rain potential, nothing extremely heavy for you today. As we go to Friday, we are still seeing some of the air coming in from the moist Gulf. And so that means we could still see a potential for rain showers tomorrow. Again, for the most part, the color does appear to be mainly green, although we are starting to see a little bit of yellow there. But in general, generally light rain if we see any at all on Friday. Now we get to Saturday and we're beginning to see the system moving in from the west. The system is a gigantic upper low, which is going to be moving in from the west, and out ahead of it is kicking up a large scale area of deep moisture. On Saturday, that deep moisture is expected to impact Texas and Louisiana, and maybe on the Mississippi coast we might be just outside of that. So maybe there's a saving grace for Saturday, that maybe the rain that we see on Saturday still remains, you know, kind of scattered. But once we go to Saturday night, it's up. We'll see that moisture rolling in, and that continues into Sunday. The deepest moisture we're seeing, if I mark where the low is on Sunday, the low centered about here, and we are directly square in the middle of that deep moisture train rolling right from the Gulf right onto the Mississippi coast, as well as Louisiana and Alabama. That's where you see some of the darkest colors on the moisture pattern. So that's going to put you pretty much near the top end of the scale. And that's why we are more confident in wet weather materializing locally as we head into Sunday. Now keep that in mind, by the way, with so much moisture on the map on Sunday could coincide with colder air coming in from the north on Sunday, and that's how, when the wet meets the cold, how there can be a potential for snow ice across parts of the region. Here's a look at Friday's map, and we're still mild on the coast, right? We don't see any cold blue for South Mississippi. Here's Saturday, we're still mild on the coast, and we're actually, again, remember that low forming back here first on Saturday. We are actually on Saturday tapping into quite mild air coming straight in from the Gulf. So we'll see mild 60s on Saturday, no potential for anything other than rain in South Mississippi on Saturday. Temperatures are going to be up into the mild 60s. Now, as we go from Saturday to Sunday, we mark the position of that low. We can see the center of circulation basically here. On the backside of the low, you do have that colder air coming in. It's hitting northern parts of our state on Sunday, the cold. But in the southern part of the state here, we're still tapping into the mild Gulf air. It's a close call, we will get a change during the day. Let me rephrase that. We will get a change during the day on Sunday, but at least in the first part of Sunday, it's pretty mild, and we might be so deep into the warm sector because if I draw the complete warm sector of this system, which by the way, you can tell with a low pressure system, let's restart. Low pressure system, there's a warm sector and a cold sector. In general, the warm sector is going to be the area out ahead of the warm front, or behind the warm front, as well as ahead of the cold front. So this general area here, we're in it, deep into the warm sector. The cold sector is back here, and that's actually going to roll in later on into the day. So you got the warm sector rolling up to the north and east, the cold sector coming down from the north and west. And that cold sector hits us by Sunday night into Monday, and we're going to see an Arctic blast take over our region. Now, here's a more zoomed in view of Sunday, so we can give you a little bit more detail on perhaps exactly when this change will happen. So there's a snapshot of Sunday morning. We find mild temperatures in the 60s near coastal Mississippi, so it's just some rain. It might actually be so warm in some cases with temperatures approaching 70 that there might even be a rumble of thunder on Sunday morning in South Mississippi. Now, as we fast forward to later Sunday morning, we're still seeing mild 60s for us, maybe a rumble of thunder with rain. But behind the front, the temperatures are falling fast. Our neighbors at the state capital city, Jackson, they're down to near freezing. So even though they start with rain, that rain changes over to a mix of rain and ice, maybe freezing rain, maybe sleet. A possibility for the state capital city of Jackson Sunday morning. So look at the temperature difference. We are 30 degrees warmer than they are in Jackson, right? So that difference is why we would have rain and they could have freezing rain and sleet. As we go through the day, that colder air is going to continue to funnel in behind this front. So we'll watch as the front moves eastward by midday, and notice the temperature. Let's rewind that. So here, look at Hattiesburg. What happens to them? 67, 9 a.m., 45 noon. It's a giant 20-degree drop in 3 hours. It's going to be a very sharp change. You will know if you are standing outside around the middle of Sunday, if you have plans for multiple hours being outside, obviously you're going to want to plan for rain, but temperature-wise, you will be able to feel this front when it moves through. It's going to be rainy and mild, and then all of a sudden the wind will really kick in from the north in a very strong way, and the temperature will sharply drop. It will be a very noticeable change on Sunday. You will know when the front has passed. By the way, noon on Sunday, we're still in the mild 60s, Gulfport, Biloxi. And you can see freezing near the state capital city of Jackson. So again, that changeover to freezing rain and sleet for them, but for us, just rain. Now we go to the afternoon. We're getting the cool down here on the coast. You can see that temperatures are falling out of the 60s, down into the 50s, down into the 40s locally. And eventually, as the temperature keeps falling, we're going to wonder, is it still going to be wet while the temperatures are falling to colder and colder? And the answer is right now, probably not, because it looks like all of the moisture begins to pull away. The air is quickly turning drier Sunday evening. And so by the time we could actually get some of these colder 30s to actually come down to coastal Mississippi, it's too late. There's no wet weather left. All the wet weather has pulled away into Alabama and Georgia, and we're just left with dry conditions as it turns very cold and begins to freeze around or after midnight Sunday night. So that's what we'll be watching for you as we go into the 7-day forecast. Staying mild with daily rain chances Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But then on Sunday, that transition day that we just walked you through all the details, the morning hours are mild, the afternoon becoming chillier with 50s and 40s. And again, locally in South Mississippi, in the 6 southernmost counties of our state, we are just forecasting rain. But there can be an opportunity, a very small one. We'll have to watch as the cold air right here, let me go back to 6 p.m., as the moisture is exiting and as the cold air is approaching. The cold air is chasing the moisture. If they line up at just the right alignment, maybe some of the raindrops might briefly transition to kind of just a novelty snow flurry, a novelty little brief ice pellet. Y'all remember like what happened last Sunday when a handful of folks who were up at 3 in the morning on Sunday managed to see a few snow flurries in Gulfport and such? Well, there's kind of another opportunity for that, but it's a very small window of opportunity and a low chance, because right now it looks like the cold is not going to catch up to the wet. And so when they don't catch up, it's just going to be cold and dry with no moisture left to make a snow flurry. But maybe some spots manage to get that where it does line up perfectly. If it happens at all, it will be at some point Sunday night into basically toward midnight. Once we get to midnight, I think it's going to be way too dry for any of that. And we freeze, by the way. There's 2 pipe bursting freezes. This is the last thing I'll show before I go. 2 pipe bursting freezes Monday morning, 26 in Gulfport, Biloxi, but could be 23 in Wiggins. So you got to protect pipes, people, pets, and plants. Tuesday morning, 24 in Gulfport, Biloxi, but could be 21 in Wiggins. So you do want to protect pipes, people, pets, and plants. And by the way, 26 on Monday morning, it will be breezy. So you get a wind chill too. Here's a snapshot of Monday morning's wind chill numbers. 15 degrees for the wind chill in Biloxi, 17 in Pascagoula, 12 in Wiggins. So that's what I'll leave you with. The Arctic blast is on the way. We will be on the wet and mild side for now, but the weekend concludes with an Arctic blast that will be with us as we start the new week next week. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.